It's a good thing Woody Woodpecker didn't co-star in this movie, otherwise we wouldn't have Keanu Reeves anymore. Welcome back to another unfortunate case of movie, soulmates. My name's SoulKeever.
And I'm Astrid.
And we just watched Johnny Mnemonic.
Yeah.
On DVD.
Thanks to you.
Because no place is streaming it.
For a reason!
It used to be on Netflix like 6 years ago or something, and then eventually I think someone working there realized the errors of their ways.
Yeah, they probably got like a mass petition of people being like, please take this movie off. I hate it.
You know, I think that was the first time I really watched this movie was way back then when it was on Netflix, and I kind of liked the movie at the time. And then I rewatched it with you, and I said to myself, wow, this really wasn't as good as it was the first time around.
Okay, wait, no, you watched it more than twice because you made me watch it with you. You made me watch it with you, and I think you had already seen it.
Yeah, I did. I saw it on Netflix.
So you've seen it like 3 times.
I've seen it at least 3 times.
Okay.
I think I might have watched it more than once before I showed it to you.
Because I hated it I hated it the first time I saw it. And I hated it even more the second time I saw it.
Yeah, it just keeps getting worse with repeated viewings.
Yeah. So every time he comes at me with a really bad movie, I try to counter it with like a fun movie that just got bad ratings, right? So I was really trying to avoid Johnny Mnemonic with Serving Sarah. I'm still convinced I have it somewhere in my house, but I couldn't find it. So eventually I had to cave and watch Johnny Mnemonic.
And I was forced the worst shit on you.
It's the worst! It makes no sense. It's dumb. And like, okay, to jump into, like, what did I think this movie was gonna be, I don't even remember it from the first time. I just remember that it was bad, so I spent the second viewing still thinking he was some kind of secret agent, which he's not.
He's not. He's just some jack-off courier.
Yeah,
He's a mailman.
It's got nothing to do with being a spy. He's just basically, he's an information mule. Instead of putting cocaine up his butthole, he's putting information into his brain implant, walking it over the border of, you know, whichever town, and, like, giving it to somebody else.
He's walking around with 320 gigabytes in his head that, from his head, he had to have his childhood memories removed to fit the unit implant in his head so he could store all this information. Thing is, he only has, like, 80 gigabyte storage capacity, but he has this little expanding unit that grants him additional memory, so he's got a total of 160 gigabytes, and now he's carrying around 320 in his head. A lot more than he should ever be handling.
Yeah, so now he's like leaking brain fluid or something. Is it brain fluid or computer fluid?
I don't know, they call it like synaptic seepage, which to me sounds like his brains are coming out of his ears.
Yeah, wait, aren't synapses the things that take in chemicals? Like, aren't they supposed to seep and absorb?
I'm not too familiar on that process, but that sounds about right.
I don't know, it's been a long time since 11th grade psychology, but,
Well, there's a reason that William Gibson said that this movie doesn't represent his vision.
Yeah, I feel like this movie was vaguely researched and poorly implemented. It's like somebody watched The Matrix and, like, I don't know, one of the 007 movies, like James Bond, whatever, and then tried to make this, but it is neither a spy movie nor a competent movie.
You know what I was expecting from this movie, like the first time I saw it? I was expecting something that was real heavily based in cyberspace. Like, I was expecting all kinds of, you know, riding the lines inside the internet and all that, and I thought it was going to be some crazy futuristic vision.
Like Tron.
Yeah, a little bit like that, like 1995 Tron. With all the latest CGI and all that business, well, as current as CGI could have been at the time. And, you know, we got, like, one scene where they were doing that cyberspace business.
Yeah.
And it was kind of neat. The CGI was kind of garbo even for 1995, I think. I think Kazam had better CGI than Johnny Mnemonic did.
Yeah.
And Johnny Mnemonic had a budget of, like, $30 million.
Yeah, the dancing baby on Ally McBeal had better CGI quality than this.
When did that come out?
I don't know.
Mid-90s?
I feel like maybe 2000.
All right, well, they had about 5 years to get better at it, but still, it was a TV show.
Yeah, I was saying it was a TV show. It wasn't working with the same budget, and they brought it back multiple times.
I'm pretty
and
sure.
Don't get me wrong, it was a poorly rendered baby, but still better than the bullshit that was going on at the end of this movie.
I'm pretty sure Star Trek: The Next Generation had better CGI for all their aliens and crap.
It did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've watched the show.
It
you
did.
know. Go ahead, check it out. It's on Netflix. You'll see. I guarantee CGI is better.
Did much better.
So yeah, I expected something more exciting than this, but I didn't get it. No.
No.
Well, let's jump right into what this movie actually was, and we gotta address the elephant in the room as far as I'm concerned, because Keanu Reeves, the whole movie was, filled with actors that were a little wooden, but Keanu Reeves, he stands head and shoulders above everyone else. I cannot believe this man was a leading actor.
Yeah. It was, and it's not like he's a bad actor. He's done some really good emotional roles. This really should have lent to it. It's kind of like Matrix style.
What's really fucked up is that he did Speed, I think, and then he did this movie, and then he went on to do The Matrix. Like, this didn't ruin his career, but it certainly ruined Dolph Lundgren's career.
Poor
and Dolph Lundgren wasn't even bad in this movie.
No, he was much less wooden than he usually is.
Yeah, he actually, got into the role and all that, and he was kind of intimidating.
Yeah.
Like, I really wish that they would have focused harder on him as an antagonist. Instead, they kind of just shoehorned him in, and this was his last theatrical movie for 15 years.
Yeah. Honestly, he was so, emotional and not wooden in this role, and he had a regular accent, that if it weren't for his size and the fact that you were pointing him out as is it Lundgren or Lundgren? Lundgren. That if you hadn't pointed him out as Dolph Lundgren, I wouldn't have known it was him.
Yeah, I know. He kind of disappeared into the role. And
he was great, yeah.
That's really what you ask for an actor, so I don't have anything bad to say about Dolph in this movie. I thought he was great.
He was the highlight of this movie, let's be honest.
He did not deserve to lose his career over this movie.
No.
If anyone deserved to lose their career, it was Keanu Reeves.
Yeah.
Because holy shit, you cannot believe how bad his acting is.
Yeah.
He stars opposite this woman who plays his bodyguard in the movie, and they have zero chemistry.
They don't. You know
None.
You know what I think it is? I think Keanu Reeves is real hit or miss with his acting, but I bet he's a really nice person, and I bet he's such a joy to work with that he just keeps getting rehired. See,
that's the thing. Actors, they can get away with being a little terrible, but if they're easy to get along with and they're easy to work with, they get a lot of roles. Just so long as, they get a good return on their investment, too. Because, all these companies are not going to funnel a bunch of money into people who don't give them a return on their investment.
Right.
Like Emilio Estevez, he's the best bet in the business because he's got the biggest return on investment in Hollywood.
Really?
Yep, Emilio Estevez. If you want to make money, you better get Emilio. The thing is, he doesn't really act anymore. He only does directing jobs. Which is kind of a shame because he still looks good.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But Keanu, he's a nice guy, so he gets lots of work. Even though his work is really hit or miss. He only hits maybe 50% of his shots. I wish I could be nicer than that, but really. It's not just like this movie is an isolated incident either. Keanu Reeves, he's had lots of bad acting jobs. Look at Dracula. Go to 1992, look at Dracula.
Right.
Holy shit, what is he doing there as Jonathan Harker?
Right. But...
Because Gary Oldman is giving him the world in that movie, and Keanu is just offering him dog shit.
Yeah. But for every Dracula, there's a Speed. And for every Johnny Mnemonic, there's a Matrix. So, the 50% hit rate might be good in sports, but... in Hollywood, I think it's the nice guy thing that gets him through. Because then his fans like him if they ever meet him, and that's going to really amp him up more, because if he goes to, premiere events and stuff, I bet, but...
I'll just say right now that I like Keanu Reeves, even if he is kind of a lousy actor sometimes, because he's been in some good stuff, so I don't hold it against him, and then I can laugh at his crap work.
I love Keanu Reeves and his age-appropriate girlfriend.
His age-appropriate girlfriend. Yeah, I mean, they're pretty close. Well, I wouldn't call him close in age. He's maybe 10 years older.
Yeah, for Hollywood, that's age-appropriate. He's no Leonardo DiCaprio.
No, he's not dating someone 20 years younger.
Right.
Or 40 years younger or whatever.
You know what this movie should have done? It should have been a comedy.
Yeah,
Because he had already done Bill and Ted, right, at that point?
of course. He
So-
did Bill and Ted like 6 years prior.
Yeah, so he was already like a comedic person.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a dolphin in this movie.
Yeah, it's the goofiest goddamn plot point.
And if they just introduced the dolphin earlier as the tech hacking wizard that he is, this movie I think would have done well as a comedy, and maybe Keanu would have relaxed and been good in the role.
A sci-fi cyberspace comedy. That
Yeah.
would have been a trip. I really would have liked to see that movie,
Like Internet Spaceballs.
but I also really would have liked to see a few other plot points explored instead of the ones that they did explore.
Yeah, that's fair.
For instance, I would have liked them to explain better, like, you know, the nerve attenuation syndrome pandemic that's going on in the movie. Like, I'm not even sure how the hell this pandemic is being spread that's happening in this movie. See, the movie is set in 2021.
Yes.
And they got this disease that's going around because I guess people are getting too much tech implanted in themselves.
Yeah.
And they're using the internet too much? It's really unclear how this is being spread.
Yeah, I tried to go on the internet and look it up because it was unclear to me. I made you pause the movie so we could look it up, and all I could find was like people's overdependence on technology is creating an addiction, and the addiction is presenting as nerve attenuation syndrome. And that was all I could get. So it's like,
So people are playing Words with Friends too much?
yeah, I think that's what we're supposed to extrapolate, because I think it's supposed to be, you know, like one of those doom warning things, like what was that movie with the little robot, that little garbage robot? When everybody
WALL-E?
Yeah, like WALL-E, where they're like, we're depending too much on technology and we're all gonna get fat and lazy. I don't know, like that.
That is so dumb. That's not going to create a pandemic.
Yeah. So, but I think because they're also imagining a future where technology is different and people were getting those implants, so I think they were trying to make a comparison between, like, internet dependence and drug dependence.
Oh, okay.
Which is why because they even, like, some of those, like, street implants that his lady bodyguard got, like, they're all, like, track mark looking, going down her forearms.
I guess I would have liked the movie to, you know, kind of give me a little bit of exposition regarding that. Maybe, because I found the entire explanation of it unsatisfactory. All I hear
So
is
did I.
Henry Rollins rambling on about the black shakes and going on like, hey, it's all around you, man. And this man is a doctor.
Okay, yeah, and they never explained why they called it the black shakes. Nobody coughed up black stuff or, like, turned, you know,
Yeah,
like,
I know. No,
black and gangrenous or anything.
no one ever really died. People were just like shaking like they had Parkinson's.
Yeah, they were just having, like, seizures.
So what the hell makes this nerve attenuation syndrome? Why are they just diagnosing them with Parkinson's disease if all of them are shaking so damn much?
I don't know. I don't
See?
know. It doesn't
I have a
make
point.
sense. It doesn't make sense.
I know
Why
it
were
doesn't.
they all in an underground hospital, too?
Oh, God. Oh, my God. It's best if you don't think too hard while you watch this movie. Let me clue you with that, because the plot points aren't really going to jive, you know, in the sense of logic.
Yeah. I want to get back to the dolphin for a second. So the dolphin, because he's in this little fish tank, and they're like, he used to be a member of, like, the Navy or whatever, which, haha, dolphins.
Dolphin ex machina is what I like to call him.
Yeah. And the funny thing to me, well, not funny, but, like, because they actually have used dolphins to, like, sniff out water mines and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like, which is nuts. But so, and then in this future world, they put him up in all these implants, but he's like, there's Ethernet cables going into the water, hooking up to this dolphin to a bunch of, like, little tiny boob tube screens, like, up in this big thing.
A wall of TVs.
Yeah. Like
In 2021.
Yeah.
TVs we don't use anymore.
And it's like, I know hackers sometimes will have more than one monitor that they're working with on a computer, but, like, this shit made no sense. It made no sense. Why were there so many screens? Did that give him more internet capacity? Because I don't think it did.
I don't think that's how it works.
I don't think that is how it works.
No, no, it definitely is not how it works. I really don't know what was going on with this dolphin. This is one of those things that you look at and you go, okay, there's an explanation behind this, and this movie's not going to give it to me, is it?
Yeah.
Because this hasn't explained anything else to this point. Why would it explain the dolphin that's completely changing the course of the plot?
And the dolphin makes a lot of noise. Like, a lot of noise. And it's funny every time. He keeps going like,
The dolphin, his name is Jones.
Jones, yes, he gets addressed by his surname.
Jonesy.
Jones. And you don't dare insult him. The one guy comes in and he's like, "What? You're a fish?" And he's like,
I'm a little disappointed that Ice-T didn't feed him a mackerel.
"Aw, he should have."
That would have been fun to see.
It would have been cute.
Also, Ice-T would have quit acting then, I bet.
It would have been cute. It would have been cute. But it was extra funny because in this world, like, you kind of go, like, into the internet, right, with, like, your little internet gloves, and you kind of, like, you know, move your files and swim around instead
it's
of,
really
like...
interesting to see what they thought 2021 was going to be like. 'Cause,
Yeah.
you know, again, 2021, it's only like 26 years after 1995.
Mm-hmm.
What really gets me about this kind of thing is why the hell don't they base these things much farther in the future than like just 20, 30 years? Because we're going to see how things are going to turn out pretty quick, and the author should probably think about writing things well beyond his lifespan, so that he doesn't have to live to see if his plot kind of unfurls the way he thinks it's going to.
Yeah, they should have. And my theory on why they don't is because they don't want to put more money into the rest of the props to make them look more futuristic.
Well, what the hell does it matter anyway? Everything's going to be dated by then anyway. Just imagine that dystopian future where everyone's using all this old tech and making it new again.
Yeah, exactly. Steampunk style.
That's what they do in Alien, you know? They're using a bunch of bullshit 70s tech and repurposing it and turning it into new tech.
Yep. But anyway, I got a huge kick out of the dolphin when he's hooked up into the internet just swimming in his tank, and then it would cut to him swimming as a virtual dolphin through the internet. Just funny every time. Why was this movie not a comedy? I don't know.
This is so goofy. I can't believe that this was a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Johnny, throughout the movie, is accompanied by a bodyguard that he hires, even though he doesn't really need one.
Yeah.
Because, you know, Johnny's very capable. He's got a gun on him pretty much all the time.
Yeah.
And he's okay at fighting.
Yeah.
He can hold his own at the very least. But he gets this bodyguard that has, you know, the black shakes, and she's got all kinds of implants in her that she got from Henry Rollins' doctor character, Spider. That's his name, Spider.
Yeah.
And she wants bodyguard work, but she doesn't get it because she's got NAS. Again, not fully explained.
Yeah.
Not sure what it is. It just causes you to shake a lot.
And all we know is apparently like half the population has it.
Mm-hmm.
Like half.
Half.
So why is it so stigmatized still? That makes no sense.
If half the population has it, it seems like, you know, you'd be pretty used to working around it.
Yeah.
Working with it or around it.
Yeah. And also, literally everybody would know somebody with it, which means that, you know, it's not like how some people have just never encountered, like, hard drugs, and so then they make moral judgments about the people who have used it.
Because,
like,
you know, imagine a household of two people, one person has NAS.
Yeah.
that's the statistic they're looking at right there.
Are you in a room with two people? Do they have NAS? Uh-oh. Too bad. That means you do.
Oh, yeah.
Like, super common.
This bodyguard that is hanging around Johnny is kind of useful at the beginning because she really starts out kicking ass after saving him from getting his head chopped off. But, you know, later on in the movie, she kind of turns out to be a little bit more useless than she turned out to be at the beginning.
Yeah.
Which makes me think that they kind of changed her arc, or at least changed the script, at some point, probably midway through the movie.
Yeah.
So that she kicked less ass, so she'd be a damsel in distress at the end for Johnny.
Oh, interesting. You could
you
be right.
Because you notice at the end, you know, when Shinji, this guy who has a laser whip implanted in his thumb that he uses to like slice people in half, it's actually kind of a badass effect.
It really was.
But it's also really
practical.
unwieldy and unpractical because he can very obviously hit himself at any time and cut himself into pieces.
Yeah, as soon as I saw that, I was like, "Ooh, he's gonna get sliced in half by his own weapon, isn't he?"
And then I went.
Yeah. You just know. It's like when a bad guy wears a cape in a superhero movie. Or when a bad lady in a regular movie wears high heels, you know her high heels are going to be the death of her.
This is what we call the loaded gun. If there's a loaded gun in Act 1, it's going to go off in Act 3.
Yeah, which makes this the only thing that this movie did competently.
At least it did one thing right. Thank God.
Yeah.
Yeah, At the end, Shinji comes with his henchmen, and they got this woman at gunpoint, even though she was kicking all kinds of ass when she first showed up and, tag team with Johnny. So why'd she get downgraded from a total badass to a damsel in distress?
I kind of thought that it went differently. I think that she was always written as a damsel in distress, and they just didn't know how to introduce her, and they shoehorned in the bodyguard subplot just to introduce her.
Yeah, maybe. I do remember reading that William Gibson wrote her as a bodyguard in the comic, or not the comic, but the short story, because this is based on a William Gibson short story.
Oh.
The guy who wrote Neuromancer. And in his short story, Johnny is a lot more defenseless. He's kind of a pussy. He's just a guy who carries around a lot of data in his head. He's a mailman, effectively.
He's a regular computer nerd.
Yeah, he's just a nerd who carries around a bunch of data in his head.
Okay.
And he hires this woman who's a total badass to get his back while he has to make his delivery.
Right. Okay.
So in the short story, she's a total fucking badass.
Yeah.
And she doesn't get downgraded to a damsel in distress.
She's like Maze from Lucifer.
Yeah, she's like his line of defense.
Yeah.
Because
cool.
he can't defend himself.
I would have rather seen like a Kill Bill style bitch.
That's kind of what I wish we would have saw here. If I had done the movie, if I had my way, I would have made Johnny a total pussy. And I wouldn't have had him do all this. I wouldn't have had him carrying a piece. Maybe I would have had him carrying like a sidearm or something.
Yeah.
Because maybe he just keeps it on himself for peace of mind. Something like that. But otherwise, no, he's a fucking wimp. I wouldn't have him like fighting all kinds of things. I'd make him like a little nerd.
Yeah.
And I'd put like a big ass woman, like a fucking Amazon bodyguard next to him.
Yes.
To carry his ass through all these situations.
Yes.
And the character that this bodyguard is based on, I think she was a Neuromancer. I haven't really read through all of Neuromancer. I maybe read half the book.
Okay.
But the thing about this was, this character that the bodyguard here was based on was actually under license to another production company because she was a Neuromancer.
Okay.
So they couldn't use her in this movie. They had to kind of create a new character and put her in this part's place.
Oh, and women got screwed.
Pretty much.
Oh, why don't they want us to have role models?
Because that would encourage them.
Yeah.
Damsel in distress forever. You know what I'd really like to do? I'd kind of like to remake this movie, because I feel like there's some good things about it. And if we stuck a little closer to William Gibson's short story, I think this could make for a really, really nice movie. Like, I take Keanu Reeves' part, and I do what I say. I make the guy a complete pussy.
Yeah.
Give him maybe a sidearm or something. And then he's totally incompetent at using his weapon.
Yeah.
And then he has to, shell out Mundo buku bucks for his bodyguard.
Maybe shave down one of the villains so that you can focus properly on who the bad guy is.
I wouldn't necessarily shave them now. What I think I would do, since there are two antagonists in this movie, and it drove me nuts that these antagonists were kind of just operating independently. It drove me batty. What I would have done was I would have created it so there would be an open contract on Johnny. So these antagonists, the street preacher played by Dolph Lundgren, and then Shinji, they'd be both contract killers, but they would be in conflict going after this guy, and they would wind up fighting each other.
Okay. But then neither of them are really the ultimate bad guy. Wouldn't the ultimate bad guy be the one with the open contract on him?
Yeah, but he wouldn't be doing anything. He'd just be off in the distance, letting them do as they will.
Okay.
And whoever gets it gets it. Because this guy, he doesn't want to get his hands dirty. The big bad is just he's off in his ivory tower. He doesn't give a fuck.
I don't know. If I were doing it, I would just have the crazy street preacher be the antagonist, because I feel like every movie does, the Yakuza are the bad guys. And at some point it feels a little lazy.
I could see it that way too. I could see it that way too. And if I had to pick one, I'd go with the street preacher.
Yeah, I also just feel like he's the more compelling bad guy because he's like nuts, and it's like nothing is scarier than somebody who is just you really don't know what they're gonna do. Like the Yakuza, you know exactly what they're gonna do to you.
Oh god, the street preacher was really badass. Like the
He
first
was a
scene,
maniac.
first scene you see him in, he's like just in his chapel with a bunch of candles and shit, and he's just caressing himself with his knife and stuff. Mm-hmm. He's got a big knife shaped like a cross with Jesus crucified on it.
Yeah, because why not? Why is there a creepier weapon in the world that he could have been wielding? No, compelling.
No, there is not. That's a pretty neat weapon.
Hell of a weapon.
And then, like the first scene where he interrogates somebody, he dips their implanted hand in liquid nitrogen and smashes it.
Oh yeah, that was so gross.
Oh, that was nasty.
Like, you didn't even really ask him the questions you were going to ask him before you did that. You didn't give him a chance to cooperate.
He didn't even give him a chance to cooperate at all before he dipped his hand in liquid nitrogen. And once the guy didn't answer, then he smashed his hand and it just exploded all over the place. It was gross, and it was kind of an awesome effect.
It was disgusting. It was gruesome.
It was. I wish there was more of that in this movie.
Yeah, I bet you did. That makes one of us.
That's why I don't mind you saying that the street preacher should probably have a bigger part.
Yeah. He was kind of great.
He was. Dolph Lundgren, again, great
Knocked
job.
it out of the park.
Yeah. I just can't believe that his career got derailed because of this fucking movie.
It's offensive.
It really is, because it's not like he could have carried the movie. They didn't give him enough to work with.
Mm-hmm.
Poor guy. You just feel bad for him.
Yeah.
Yeah. He does crop up one more time at the end of the movie with the dolphin. Like, he gets run over by Spider when Spider sees him and they're driving along the van trying to go to that underground bunker where they got all the people with the black shakes so they can try to extract the data from Johnny's head. Which, funny enough, they tell him, Spider tells him, "Oh, we can get this out of your head, but you're only going to have a memory that lasts about 3 minutes."
Yeah! And he's like, are you kidding me? That's not acceptable. And he's like, what do you care? You're going to die anyway. At least this way. Oh, yeah, it's because he's got the cure in his head. The cure to NAS.
They got the
is
cure
what he
to
was
NAS.
transporting.
Yeah, he's transporting a cure to NAS, so it's pretty important information. And I would feel a lot more passionate about it if they actually explained what the hell NAS was.
Yeah. Also, again, a little lazy. They went with that conspiracy theory of, because it's like people like my grandpa believe that crap that, like there's a cure to cancer out there, but they're not telling you because they're making too much money off of treating your sickness.
They're doubling down on this wild conspiracy theory that the treatment is more profitable than the cure.
Yep. That's what this movie is about.
And, if people are just getting sick and dying anyway, how profitable is it if the people that you're treating are just dying?
Right, yeah. If the people that have it are sitting in this underground hospital because apparently they can't get regular treatment, how profitable is it really to you? Seems more like regular genocide.
Yeah, it's counterproductive and it doesn't make a lot of sense.
It would have made more sense if they went with that as opposed to the profit margin.
There's... Like I said, there's a lot of things that I would change about this film, but I feel like there's some decent bones hanging in here that we could work with.
The bones of a conspiracy theorist.
Well, I'm not saying that everything is perfect. I'm just saying that we trim a little here, trim a little there, rewrite a couple of things in a few places, keep the setting kind of the same way. Mm-hmm. I feel like we got some money going on here.
We'll agree to disagree. I think this movie belongs in the dumpster.
All right.
I think its original draft was supposed to be a spy movie. It still feels like it should have been a spy movie.
Tell you what, I'm gonna see if I can email William Gibson later. I'm gonna ask him if he can share his original manuscript with us.
Thank you. I would like to know.
And if he actually responds, that would be hilarious.
Why, sir, does this feel like a spy movie when it's not?
Well, I'm not gonna berate him for it. He already disowned this movie. Yeah, he already said that this movie doesn't represent his original vision. They used, virtually none of his screenplay.
Okay.
So, that's why he doesn't want to do movies anymore. This movie got William Gibson out of the movie game.
That's hilarious. That's how passionately he hates how this movie turned out.
Yeah. They butchered this movie so bad that he doesn't want anything to do with movies anymore. Which is unfortunate because I feel like Neuromancer would be a pretty decent movie if they actually adapted it properly.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
But then again, The Matrix is a pretty heavy homage to Neuromancer in itself, so whatever. Yeah. Anyway, why don't we go on to our Amazon reviews for Johnny Mnemonic?
Okay, find the reviews that say, we wanted more of the dolphin. They should have introduced Jones in the first act, and he should have been the protagonist.
He should have just been the whole movie. The whole movie should have just been 96 minutes of him floating in a tank.
Yeah, it should have been Jones Mnemonic. He's a much more compelling character than Johnny.
Maybe Keanu Reeves could have thrown his voice on top of Jones.
Yeah.
Even that would have been a better movie.
Mm-hmm. Now we're getting somewhere.
Yeah. He's just swimming through the sea, accessing the internet. Echo. The
movie.
Yes. That would have been sweet, like making Echo the Dolphin movie like this. You know, that Genesis game?
Mm-hmm.
That really scary-ass Genesis game. That would have been cool.
Is it scary?
It's a little bit scary. It's actually really scary for a 16-bit game because you're underwater the whole time and, Echo can't really, he can't go to the surface hardly. He has to rely on air pockets down there and you have a very limited supply of air. And also there's some pretty big scary enemies down there that are kind of nightmare fuelish.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, especially the final boss. He looks like a xenomorph.
Sounds scarier than I actually want to play. I always kind of wanted to play that game as a kid and I never did. Now I'm kind of glad.
Yeah, a lot of people have some pretty traumatic memories of playing Echo the Dolphin.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, it's a game.
Well, apparently people have been sleeping on Echo.
You have a Genesis Mini, so you can play it anytime you want.
I can.
All right. So for our Amazon reviews, we choose we choose 3 5-star reviews. There, I'm getting it right now. And we choose 3 1-star reviews, and we always start with the 5-star reviews. Mm-hmm. So let's go ahead and take a look at what Will has to say.
5 stars for Jones.
Something like that. He says, Keanu Reeves may be the greatest actor of our time.
What?
This movie is living proof of his genius. Words cannot express the violent emotions and physical trauma Reeves' head must be going through when he pumps 80 gigabytes of data into his brain. When Henry Rollins tells him that his brain is leaking data, or something like that, tensions run incredibly high in this cyberpunk masterpiece. Reeves delivers an Oscar-worthy performance in Johnny Mnemonic, putting him in the same arena as Hopkins, Pacino, and De Niro. Buy this movie.
Oh, I guess Will is entitled to an opinion.
That's an opinion, all right. My goodness, that was
a lot to process.
That was a hot take right there. That was hot off the presses.
Will shouldn't be allowed to review movies anymore.
We revoke his reviewing privileges. Good day, sir. And our next review comes from James, who says, yet another techno film trashed by the literati. Oh dear. Like AI, artificial intelligence, and Blade Runner, this is yet another film I didn't see at the time of its release because of the critics who don't see much value in and know nothing of the genre of futurist, technology-oriented sci-fi. I'm beginning to think these people parade around with single-digit IQs, trying to control what triple digits enjoy. He's a high IQ guy.
I'm one of the triple digits. He's got a nickname for it.
Okay, dude.
This guy's not pretentious at all.
He says, I think I'll copyright that statement.
This man really thought he had an original idea.
I saw it. I liked it. I bought it. But then I'm not threatened by something that takes me out of myself to another world and another time. Hit me.
Oh, I'll hit you all right.
He just quoted the movie. He quoted the movie. Oh my god. Oh, okay.
That was a review.
Yeah. Our Our last 5-star review comes from Danny, who says, it's a sci-fi film.
It is weird, yes, but that is the reason it's sci-fi. Note, fi equals fiction. I liked it because the technology presented is possible. It's kind of dumb that they would put such valuable data in his head, but who the hell knows if they have UPS in the future. This story is better than The Matrix and more believable.
What? I don't know if it was any more believable than The Matrix.
You're leaking synaptic fluid.
Whatever the fuck that means.
Okay, they plugged headphone jacks into his head. That's more realistic than The Matrix. They were both swimming around in the internet.
They took out his childhood memories. Do you realize the implications of doing that?
Not sure they do.
If you took out his childhood memories, just like ripped them out of his head, he would not be a very well-adjusted individual. He would be probably a nightmare to deal with.
Yeah.
Like, your emotions would be all over the place, and you wouldn't know how to handle anything, hardly.
Yeah, a huge chunk of your personality would be affected.
You'd probably have to be led around by a leash and be told exactly what you have to do. Something like that. Basically, all your development, all the development you had throughout your life, gone out the window.
Yeah.
So, to say the very least, it would be difficult to function.
Yep.
All right, let's move.
Also, you'd be fucking confused walking around not knowing how you got here, who your family is.
Yeah. I think that's exactly what Johnny was kind of hinting at throughout most of the movie.
Yeah, and they never really resolved that either. Like, you get one memory at the end from his, 7th birthday party, and that's it.
Yeah, he never really gets any of his memories back, because it's not like the implant gets removed or anything.
Yeah.
And it's not like he gets the green light to go get all of his memories back and all that business, because the dolphin is not a trained surgeon. What's he going to do?
Yes, the trained surgeon got tortured and killed, right?
Yes.
Spider got tortured and killed.
Spider was a trained surgeon. He had the talent to do stuff, but also, because of Johnny's predicament, he would have to pretty much just destroy his brain.
Yeah, and I don't think he was necessarily as talented a surgeon as could be, because the people he operated on came out a little fucked up.
Yeah, well, this is what the free clinic looks like in 2021, apparently.
Yeah.
And so that's...
Welcome to heaven.
Hey! 3 minutes memory. It's a positive outlook here.
Right? I'm talking over there to me in 10-second time is an acceptable outcome.
3 minutes? Man, you just won the lottery over in this intensive care unit. Alright, let's go ahead and take a look at the 1-star reviews now. Our first 1-star review comes from Snooch, who says,
acceptable.
The only movie I have almost walked out on. And I paid to see Wild Orchard 2. What stopped me? Well, a guy getting filleted in half with a laser rope. What made me realize that even that shouldn't have kept me in the theater. Mankind's savior is not Ted Theodore Logan, Esquire.
What?
I think that's his character from Bill and Ted. Keanu Reeves.
Okay.
Nope. It is a dolphin.
Yes!
A rubber dolphin.
Yes.
In a fish tank.
Yes.
With a hat on.
Yes.
I wish I could have vomited on command. Come on, people!
Yes. See, and if they'd introduced Jones earlier in a comedy, people would have laughed and they would have kept going. But as is, you have this serious sci-fi movie. No, people are upset about the dolphin. Jones, the best character.
He was a pretty tremendous character. I think that Jones should have won an Oscar.
Yes, Jones commands respect.
Jones should have got top billing.
Jones saved the day.
His acting was much better than Keanu's.
Mm-hmm. He did some sort of, violent echolocation that would, sonic boom people sort of thing.
Yeah, they certainly did a number on the Street Preacher.
Mm-hmm.
Because Jonesy kind of just did his echolocation thing and yelled into a mic, and then they directed the mic toward the Street Preacher and kind of just made him burn up.
Yeah, it's like it does a weird feedback loop or something.
Yeah, I think They didn't really go into what all the implants were on the street preacher, because it's implied that he has a lot of them, that he's more machine than man.
Yes.
But after he's all burned up, he just looks like a charred corpse, so where's all of his implants? Seems like it should have just been like an exoskeleton.
That's a good point, actually.
So where the hell are the implants, man? If the street preacher was going to burn up, what I would have liked to see was just like a bunch of like...
Just a pile of rubbly material.
Pile of metal parts just collapsing to the ground.
Yeah, that would have been pretty great. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
That would have been better.
And like maybe some organic innards kind of spilling out too among those.
Oh.
Like a real gruesome biomechanical shit.
You're foul.
Well, that's the way that this character was supposed to be portrayed.
Yeah, fair.
So if they're gonna establish it, they need to go all the way with it. Mm-hmm. Don't be a pussy. You know what I mean?
Be a pussy if I want.
Yeah, but you know what I mean here. You need to go all the way if you're gonna do it.
I know what
you mean.
Don't
half-ass it.
I know what you mean.
Yeah. Alright, let's go on to our next one-star review from Public, who says, "Avoid like plague."
Fair.
I was quite excited about an adaptation of one of Gibson's works, but in retrospect, I wish I never saw this movie. It actually put such a bad taste in my mouth that I've stopped following Gibson's written works.
That's so bad!
Poor William Gibson. Come on, man. William Gibson disowned this movie. You don't have to stop following him. He's fully admitted the movie's terrible, and he washed his hands of it.
Right?
2 comments. Keanu is a horrible actor in this film. It's been years, but I still can't forget him standing on a pile of junk and complaining about how he misses his expensive suits and prostitutes.
Oh yeah! Legendary!
Yeah, it's this speech is quite legendary in its awfulness. Like, he does this big soliloquy.
He starts off screaming, "I miss room service!
I want my shirts laundered."
Yes. Yes.
It's almost as good as his speech from Sweet November when he says,
yeah.
"It's a hot dog." I can't believe that scene is not a meme.
He still quotes that.
Tell me that scene does not deserve to be a meme.
It does, but that would involve more people seeing the movie, and I don't want to wish that on man.
I fully think that we need to like double down on Sweet November. People need to know about this scene, and people need to scream, "It's a hot dog!"
Agree to disagree.
I'm gonna find a way to turn that into a meme.
Alright, you do that.
Alright. This guy adds, "The director is horrible." Seriously, I could have put this film together better. Ironically, I don't think it's necessarily the director's fault either, because the director disowned the movie too and said it wasn't close to his vision. Now...
Okay, somebody has to take responsibility for this movie.
Well, what usually happens in these cases, what happens a lot of time is that the heads of the studio will take the film and they'll get their own final cut. So the director doesn't necessarily always get final cut. They only get final cut if it's in their contract.
Okay.
So it's not implausible that the director's vision is not represented here. In this case, the studio heads went in and, they directed the editor to do as dictated.
Okay.
So it's the studio's vision and not theirs. Now, Mel Gibson, fortunately, or not Mel Gibson, but Mel Brooks, on like Blazing Saddles, he had final cut.
Okay.
So that movie is entirely his vision.
His vision, his fault. Okay.
Yep. Blazing Saddle is all him. And they couldn't tell him to change things because he had final cut in his contract. And they would have had a legal case in their hands if they had tried to force it on him. Yep. Fun fact.
That's nuts.
Alright. Our last review here comes from Shinuski, who says, "This movie sucks."
This movie is probably the worst sci-fi I've ever seen. As usual, Keanu Reeves plays his only character. The plot is lame and everything about it is unrealistic. The most pathetic thing about this dreadful film is that the best actor in it is Ice-T. Don't waste your time on this rubbish. The only good movies with Keanu Reeves are Bill and Ted and The Matrix, which kicks butt despite its star.
Come on, man. Speed was good, and John Wick was good, too.
That's why only one person found that helpful.
Well, no one ever said that these reviews were smart.
Yep. Yep.
Amazon reviews, everyone. Thank you for everyone who contributed those. Those were extremely, extremely insightful.
Were they, though?
No.
No, they weren't.
But they made me laugh.
Thanks for the trash, guys.
So what did we learn from this movie, do we think?
I learned hire an internet junkie as your bodyguard.
I learned I need to stay off the internet or I'm going to get Parkinson's disease.
I learned dolphins can swim around the internet.
I learned that dolphins can restore my memories.
I learned dolphins have surnames that they like to be addressed by.
Well, if only we knew what they were so that we could address them by them when we go to the zoo.
Their surname is...
Or the aquarium, rather.
Uh-huh.
Poor dolphins. I learned that laser thumbs are incredibly useful unless someone else gets a hold of it.
Yeah, if you're gonna have a laser thumb, you should really have like a latch on it. You shouldn't just be able to pop it off like a pen cap.
I mean, what if you go to sleep and like it's caught on something and you accidentally laser your bed in half?
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I can see all kinds of problem with that.
Right? Having sex, you accidentally laser your partner in half.
Oh, now you gotta go out on the dating scene again.
Yeah, what a hassle.
Ugh. Life lessons from Johnny Mnemonic, everyone. We learned some things. Well, what's your final rating for Johnny Mnemonic? This ought to be good. That bad, huh?
Fine, let's do it.
Okay.
I will rate it the crucifix knife that I want to stab the DVD with. That's it. It only gets one thing. It doesn't deserve any more.
God damn, that's pretty bad.
Yeah.
I will give this movie Ice-T's braids.
Okay.
His dreads, rather. I will give it the black shakes.
Yeah.
And I will give it a melted bucket of ice.
Okay. You like this movie more than I do, clearly.
Oh yeah, I gotta give it its props where it deserves it. So, would I recommend seeing this movie? Not necessarily. It's got some moments that are okay, but overall it's pretty bad.
Don't see it. If you're gonna watch any of it, the only bits really worth watching are the bits where the lady's kicking ass. So maybe try and find like a YouTube compilation of just those parts set to music.
Pretty much. The only thing this movie is really good for is maybe a couple of lulls here and there. There aren't that many lulls, but there's some lulls, especially when Keanu Reeves starts speaking.
Yeah.
That's probably the funniest part of the movie is just hearing him speak and going, "Oh God."
And watching everybody wet themselves when the street preacher enters the scene is kind of funny too.
Yeah, Dolph Lundgren is actually really good in this movie.
He's the best part.
And Ice-T's not bad either, even though his part's pretty goofy.
Yeah.
So, props to Dolph Lundgren and Ice-T because they both make this movie a little better than it could have been otherwise, but still.
Yeah.
It's not enough because, this movie really needed a lot of work to make it good.
Yeah.
To say the least.
Work that was not present.
No, not even a little bit. Jesus. So no, don't watch this movie.
Don't.
Yeah, it's not worth it.
No.
God, this one was kind of painful to choke down. You know what? I gotta say though, it wasn't as bad as Master of Disguise. Not as bad as Manos Hands of Fate.
All right.
Not as bad as Things. So, credit where it's due. It's better than those movies.
Not as bad as Spookies.
No, not as bad as Spookies. So, it's really tragic that we can fire off a list of things that this movie is more competent than.
Yeah, thanks to you. You take the blame for this. Don't. What's with this we business?
Pretty sure it's more competent than Sweet November, too.
Fuck Sweet November.
Sweet November. Goddamn. I can't.
hate that movie so much. Like, I don't like this movie. I hate that movie so much more.
This is like the second time Keanu Reeves has been on this channel.
Yeah, Keanu Reeves. I don't want to hate you. I love you. You seem like a great guy. But those two movies, one day, you're going to have to answer for.
This is the second time Keanu Reeves has been on this show. And the first time was a doozy. I mean, we were just looking for Thanksgiving movies, and...
Yeah, that one really snuck up.
Yeah, that one surprised us both, because I found it, and I saw the ratings for it, and we both said to ourselves, wow, Keanu Reeves and Charlize Theron.
How bad could it be?
Oh, God.
It made me so angry.
It was worse than we possibly could have imagined.
Yeah, if you haven't listened to the podcast about that one, go check it out, because that movie is murder.
I think we're gonna watch it again for this Thanksgiving, just because.
What?
We gotta choke it down again.
No!
Oh man,
Can't we just do Freebirds?
Yeah, actually, we could do Freebirds. We haven't done that.
Freebirds, now that we've got a policy of if as long as it's publicly rated bad, it doesn't have to be bad.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Freebirds is actually a really good movie.
It was adorable. I would have totally watched that one again.
See, Freebirds was rated as dog shit, but then we watched it and we're like, this is actually really good.
Mm-hmm.
Why has it got such bad ratings? This makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's lots of stuff happening. It's kind of, they kind of move really fast.
A little busy.
It's a little busy, but it's not like it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, a lot of kids' movies are busy. And this movie, like, there's no denying this movie is a kid's movie. So.
Yeah. Well, I think that's about it for this podcast. Next time, we're going to take a look at what you want to watch for next time.
Oh, Bubble Boy!
Oh, Bubble Boy. I forgot about Bubble Boy.
I got Bubble Boy on VHS.
I remember Bubble Boy being kind of a decent movie.
It's hilarious! I don't know why it's rated 31%.
Really?
Y'all got problems. Got Jake Gyllenhaal, who I've always loved, and I was thrilled when he became an enormous star. I've liked him since October Sky. But he's got him, it's got Danny Trejo. Like, it's a great movie. It's hilarious.
Yeah, I don't have anything bad to say about Bubble Boy. So I remember seeing it.
I feel like it was Jake Gyllenhaal's debut into comedy.
I don't know. It might have been. But I'll take a look. And, yeah, I've seen it before, but I don't remember hating it, so...
It's hilarious.
So it's going to be a good time, I think.
Uh-huh.
Anyway.
Also, my friend recommends we watch Sugar and Spice for this channel.
Okay.
She will loan us Sugar and Spice when we are ready.
Does she even listen to our podcasts?
I'm not sure.
What's she doing recommending stuff if she doesn't watch?
Because she also has a passion for... She has a passion for bad 90s movies.
All right. Well, kindred spirits.
Yeah.
Okay. We better head out now. We're going to watch Bubble Boy next time. Be sure you check that out. Find it on DVD, or maybe it's streaming someplace. I don't know if it's streaming someplace, but if it's not, just, go ahead and buy the DVD because it's real cheap.
It is.
Yeah. And it's a pretty decent movie, so you won't be too upset about it like you would Johnny Mnemonic.
Right. Yeah.
Or any number of these movies back here, these VHS tapes we got on the shelf.
Mm-hmm.
Got a lot of Garbo back here, but we got some good stuff in there, too.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of Ernest movies back there.
Yeah. I don't know. The only thing I guess that would really get to people is if you're... Well, I don't think you'd be listening to this channel if you're really offended easily by, like, religious portrayals, but, like... Bubble Boy's mother is portrayed as one of those religious nuts, so...
Yeah, well, we get a lot of that in bad movies.
Yeah, so... If you're the kind of person who's bothered by that, this movie won't be for you. If you're literally anybody else, this movie's totally for you.
Alright. Well, that's about it for this time, so I want to thank you for listening, thank you for watching. And until next time, with love for most of you, bye-bye!
Bye!